how are you? Thank you so much for joining us in our Mommy's Love video today. So this again, like always, is a support video to help the mommies out there. And I know there's a lot of new mommies out there, especially in our community. So I talk about this a lot. This is something that is really important to me because I struggled with it and it could have been a lot worse for me, but I was able to get help and I did have a support system around me. So postpartum depression wasn't a major thing for me because it was just a little bit of baby blues and it didn't get any worse. But it does for a lot of mommies, and it's really important to know what postpartum depression is, how you can go about it, and so that you can distinguish the difference between just having a little bit of baby blues and having postpartum depression. So baby blues is just something that kind of happens after you have a baby, and it's kind of you being kind of emotional and getting used to things and maybe feeling a little bit down. Postpartum depression is actually a mental health issue that you have after you have a baby, basically. So it's a subsequent cause of you having a baby, and it takes a toll on your mental health, basically. So it's a mental state, okay? And it's actually really, really common because 13 to 19% of women can suffer from postpartum depression. So the statistics are pretty high. And it's kind of different to baby blues because baby blues tend to kind of happen to everyone, in fact, because 4 out of 5 women, so like 90% of women, do have some sort of symptoms of baby blues, which is very normal because obviously you've been used to your bump for like 9 months and now your baby's here and there's so much to do and you feel overwhelmed and it's kind of go and you don't seem to stop. So it's kind of a little bit draining, and maybe you get a little bit frustrated or down or moody or things like that. And that's very normal in those first few days after you have a baby. But what is concerning is when it turns into postpartum depression. And some of those symptoms are, for example, when you don't want to get out of bed, when you are doing excessive eating or no eating whatsoever, you have like loss of appetite, you have very bad mood swings, you feel you want to get isolated from everyone around you, you don't want to be close to your baby, or you feel kind of distant from your baby. So a lot of different things like that are what starts to develop into postpartum depression, and it can get very serious because you can even hurt yourself or you can hurt your baby, or something like that can happen because you're going into a state of mind where you have no control, basically. And a lot of these things happen to or can be triggered because there's so much going on in your body after you have a baby, because of course your body's been producing a lot of hormones in your pregnancy to help sustain your pregnancy and your baby, and that's awesome. But once your placenta's out, all these hormones like boom crash, and then all of a sudden like there's a whack in your hormones and your body doesn't know what it's doing. But the good thing is that breastfeeding can actually help ease that transition, because breastfeeding actually produces oxytocin in your body when you're nursing your baby, which is that feel-good hormone. So you have a connection to your baby, you feel relaxed, you feel with that kind of love hormone is what we call it. So it really does help to prevent postpartum depression and reduces your risk of postpartum depression as a new mom after you have a baby. So some of the other things that you can do also to fight postpartum depression are things like your diet. So make sure that you're eating a really clean and healthy diet, because all those things again will help to ease your transition in your postpartum and help you in your health, basically. Also doing some exercise, because exercise too helps to release oxytocin. So it doesn't have to be anything major, but just walking or taking your baby in the stroller for a while, or just doing a little bit of yoga, stretching, things like that. Just a little bit of mild exercise goes a long way. And also taking things one step at a time, doing meditation, having some me time. So making sure that you have time where other people can help you around the house, can help you with the baby. Because again, that's something that can trigger postpartum depression too. When you feel that you have everything on your plate, that you are the only one that can do things, when there's nobody there to help you. So it starts to take a toll on you. You feel like you've lost your life, like you've lost your independence, like you're just basically this baby's back and call, and there's nobody else that can attend to your baby. So that can have a big toll on your mental health also. So having some me time is important, taking a bath, taking a walk, watching a movie, reading a book, something that is for you, where you can just kind of detach yourself from everything and just kind of, take your mind off things basically. So it's very, very important to do a lot of these things. Also talk to people, explain how you're feeling, maybe see a therapist or your doctor. So be very open about how you're feeling. That's very important too. And one of the main things also is just taking it day by day, okay? And one of the things that can happen too during this time of your having a baby is having breastfeeding difficulty. So it's natural to want to breastfeed your baby because we're kind of being like programmed to want to do that, because once our babies are born, that's the first thing that they want to do. That's the first thing that we want to do, because it's how we nourish and we protect and we connect with our babies. So not being able to do that can also cause postpartum depression, and we're not having that oxytocin release from breastfeeding, so we go even more on a downer. So a lot of times we encounter problems with breastfeeding which prevent us from breastfeeding. So things like not being able to latch your baby, or pain, or difficult with your milk supply, things like that. So there's lots of breastfeeding products that you can get there on the market that can help you with breastfeeding, like pumps, like nipple balm, for example, which helps to heal and protect and restore your nipples after maybe you've had some like problems with latching. Our nipple balm is really, really good. Our Mummies Love nipple balm. It's organic, it's pediatrician approved, and I swear by it because it saved my nipples, like totally saved my nipples. So I really, really recommend it. And it's really fast and it's tasteless, so your baby doesn't even know it's there. And things like that can make a big difference also in helping you get back on the road with breastfeeding. And also make sure you seek the help of an IBCLC or a lactation consultant, someone who could guide you through breastfeeding basically. And there's a lot of support channels out there, mommies. There's lots of breastfeeding groups, La Leche League, we have our community. There's Breastfeeding USA, and lots of like mommy and parenting groups in our community and online also. So basically, don't do this alone. I heard a saying way back in the day when I first had Samuel, which said it takes a village to raise a child. And it really does. That's how we've been raising our children since the beginning of time. And it makes so much sense. It's a support system. We have to do these together. It takes a lot on us, so we have to get support from the people around us. It's very, very important to help us to be successful with parenting, and especially with breastfeeding, and get over any encounters that we might have, like breastfeeding depression. So be open, extend your hand out to other people that can help you, so that you don't do this alone. And share your experience with us. I'd love to know if you had any of these feelings, baby blues, postpartum depression. How did you overcome it? Who did you go for help? Who did you turn to? And how were they able to help you? Bye, mommies. I hope this was useful. Besitos.